Oscar-winning actor, Cuba Gooding Jr. is finally exposing what was happening on Epstein's Little St. James Island. Emails involving code words, reports of them, and witness reports prove that human vices and was part of what was going on at both Zorro Ranch and Epstein's Island. New documents released by the FBI reveal everything. Now this week, new accusations coming to light against Cuba Gooding Jr. The allegations come from a former producer for Combs, Rodney Jones. Now he originally just listed Diddy as far as fault in, but now Gooding is listed as a co-defendant accusing him of fault as well. According to court filings, the alleged happened on a yacht rented by Combs that went to the U.S. Virgin Islands last January. The U.S. Virgin Islands are the same place that Epstein was taking his victims. Multiple witness statements and emails show that victims were being taken to the island on boats and helicopters. Once the victims would wake up, their passports would be taken away, and they would be trapped on the island. The flight crew knew exactly what was happening to the being taken to the island, but they did nothing. There are even reports that the staff on the airport had been paid off to let the victims board the plane. Satellite images, along with pictures released by the Department of Justice, show that this island was built to make it impossible to escape. Shockingly, Epstein had a fully equipped dentist's office on Little St. James, decorated with the creepiest 3D faces, and his last girlfriend, Karina Shuliak, just happens to be a dentist. So why did Epstein have a dental office in the middle of nowhere? Well, according to one survivor, victims had their front teeth pulled so they couldn't bite back during sex. Whose face that is on the wall or the walls, which is creepy. Can you imagine going into the dentist's office and that's it? What is that? That's a dentist's office at Epstein Island. And do you know what Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend went on to do as a profession? What? A dentist? Oh, isn't that weird? Last woman he dated before he died was a woman who went to dental school, practiced dentistry, and they have a dental, and there were reports that they were pulling the teeth out of the children, and they were calling them blowholes. That was according to one report of a survivor. In the files, they pulled the teeth out so that they couldn't bite back during the sex. Think about that. Think about that. You have a dentist office to pull the teeth out of kids so they don't bite you and fight back? And then 2 for 1, when you got forbid these freaking pork kids, there's no evidence of their teeth, because when people die back, it's not the skulls, nothing, it's your teeth. The dental records is how they identify you. So, and I know, and it's crazy, the more and more you're hearing the trapdoors, all the parties, all the people, and all these names, that's the only messed up thing is they redacted everybody's name. Why can't we see who these people were? Every time you think the Epstein situation can't get worse, something even more horrifying comes out. An analysis of hundreds of thousands of emails released by the Department of Justice shows that Epstein was using code words to talk to his elite friends. These code words include food items such as beef jerky, pizza, ice cream, grape, sushi, and white tuna. The context in which these words are being used doesn't make any sense. For example, in one email, Epstein's urologist, who's just prescribed him erectile dysfunction drugs, says, "Take the pills and then meet me for pizza and grape soda. And how dare you threaten me and call me names? I mean, I'm not getting paid for this. I've stayed out of it. I'm just getting too mad. Well, even watching this." So, even before the Epstein files got released, back when the Podesta emails were released in the original Pizzagate theory was born. And if you look through some of those Podesta emails, look, they're clearly talking in code. Now, what is the code? People are speculating that it was about children. Now, I have absolutely no reason to believe that, but they're not planning pizza parties. You know what I mean? Like, they're speaking in code, and that's how Epstein's urologist, who's just prescribed him erectile dysfunction drugs, says, "Take the pills and then meet me for pizza and grape soda." That's in the Epstein files. Maybe there's nothing to do with sex. Maybe they're actually you get hungry after you take a boner pill. I don't know. But the fact that nobody cares to find out or even interview the urologist to speak to and say, "Hey, what is this?" That's right. And I felt the same way back then. Soda? What are you even talking? There's no white person in America drinks grape soda. Stop. Some investigative journalists have linked the code words Epstein was using to human sacrifices, and the amount of beef jerky, its recipe, and especially the way Epstein and his friends talk about it as a person are horrifying. There are even some references to them directly. Apparently, Epstein was in contact with a restaurant called The Cannibal. The cannibalism of babies, the code words in the emails, literal emails of Epstein and Bill Gates, like these are known entities starting to talk about jerky. And then they're talking about the intestines of babies. They're talking about cream cheese, like I welcome anyone to prove me wrong. Because I hope to hell this is not true. But when we mentioned jerky, that was the more elite human meat is what I'm interpreting this as. There were emails from people, redacted names again, saying, hey, I have 68 pounds of jerky in my freezer. I'm not sure what to do with it. There were emails of, I need more jerky. I'm going to send it to the lab. When he knew they were coming after him, they knew they were going to come arrest him. He ordered 330 gallons of sulfuric acid, which is what? Which is how you would dispose of these. And there are mentions, and now Congress is actually speaking about it. They did this week spoke about Zora Ranch and how there's so many mentions of bury them in Zora Ranch, leave them in Zora Ranch. Now that's 7,000 acres of land that Jeffrey Epstein owns in New Mexico, and it's actively working right now. And then just to add to that, the chef that was making the jerky, that was sending recipes that was on the island, was Francis Darby. Who's that? Francis Darby owns the restaurant Cannibal. What? Yes. Wait, there's a restaurant called Cannibal? Cooking. Is it actual cannibalism? No, it can't be. That'd be illegal. He'd be shut down. Is it so tongue-in-cheek? Did they think they were so smart that they could go that far? There is even a 2012 email from Jeffrey Epstein to Chef Francis Darby inquiring about handling frozen white tuna, with online speculation linking it to human remains due to Darby's past role at the Cannibal Restaurant, a meat-focused eatery in New York and Los Angeles. There are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even been engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words? There's a lot of talk of beef jerky. There's a restaurant called The Cannibal, where the owner is listed in some of these documents. Now that isn't a restaurant that is just proclaiming to serve human meat by any means, but some of this it seems that there's a lot of conspiracies that make you wonder. And I saw more emails about, and these coded conversations still have very clear topic that was big. It was a big driver for them, and these were sick people doing very, very sick things. Reports of Epstein's clients being involved in the alleged consumption of human have been there for years. Back in 2009, another alleged victim, a young model by the name of Gabriela Jimenez, broke down outside a hotel party being arranged by alleged Epstein associates, screaming that she had seen something horrifying involving powerful guests. At the same time, some sources are pointing towards Epstein's alleged associates using human remains and cells obtained from babies to stay young. We've seen this again and again with celebrities. Some of the biggest shows on television have allegedly been trying to normalize the use of human remains to stay young for years. Now, in one episode of The Steve Harvey Show, a guest applies an Oprah-endorsed anti-aging cream made from human foreskin-derived fibroblasts. I'm going to put a little on your hand. Oprah did that? Oprah did, yeah. Oprah did it. All right, so here we're going to rub it right in. How come it's red? What I'll show you in a sec, Steve. Chromes extracted from children. Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. That how many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this? Okay, and good, smart ones. Just those that I thought would appreciate it. Okay, explain what is. Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it. And you pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boost it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the skin. You pushing into the skin. Sandra? Sandra Carey, what are you pushing into the skin? Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores. But what is it? It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract its foreskin from a Korean baby. The only difference between these elites and Epstein was how they were allegedly using the bodies of other people for their benefit. Steve Harvey and Ellen were doing it to stay young, while Epstein was allegedly suing it for human consumption. In one email, Epstein even talked about the exact recipe that he was using for beef jerky. So we have some of these emails up right here. And again, like, you have to think of these things, as you put it, Chris, as if you're in like a court of law, and what you can prove and what you can't. And right now, if you just looked at these alone, they don't definitively prove anything. But can we pull up that email you had up, Thief? Yeah, I'm sure. The one that had it, you had the perfect one up about the recipe. Yeah. Okay, go to the top one right there. So this one is called Jerky Recipe in the Subject. It's from December 21st, 2012. It says, "Hi Steve Hansen, no relation. On Jeffrey's Island is requesting the latest beef jerky recipe as Jae-hee has asked her to try and make some. He says the last batch that you made tasted different, and I think he likes it as he would like to attempt it. Would it be possible to forward us the recipe? Thank you, Steve." This is the response, but I've now been told it is the old way Francis was doing it. He likes best, and not the latest batch. So, on LSJ is go on Little Street, James is going to try and do it that way. I am in Europe, but with him on the island if you need to call to liaise about getting anything done. So obviously the number one point is, they're not talking about real jerky here. We know that. It's code for something, right? And when you go through some of the other emails that talk about how to refrigerate it, where to store it, how many pounds it is, and things like that, your brain goes to some of that Peter Nygaard type of thing. Now, I've seen these and I have access to the index emails as well. And I try to go through them when time allows. But yeah, I would guess if I were a betting man that they're not talking about actual beef jerky, not known to be an island treat. I mean, people eat a lot of fish down in the islands, and I'm sure other stuff too, but I mean, to me, this is code for something more than jerky is. There is a horrifying journal entry by one of the victims in the DOJ release, which points towards Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell forcing women to get pregnant and running a baby farm. Exactly what these babies were being used for hasn't been explained, but given everything else that was happening on the island, some investigative journalists claim that was widespread. Sometimes we don't talk enough about what these accusers, what these alleged victims went through. So, let me read you from these, again, what appear to be diary entries. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't speak. She doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking and it's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These things happen. Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different again, I think from Israel. He had kind eyes, but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. A shot and those rod-like things had a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I am so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes, and no more cries. And when you go to page 20 of this particular packet, chillingly, there is even a picture of a sonogram on a page with the words, "She is gone, and she won't be coming back." And next to what appears to be a poem entitled Child, you have passages such as "Your clear eye is the one absolutely beautiful thing. I want to fill it with color and ducks." Now, we don't know for sure who this person is. We don't know if this claim is real. We don't know if this sonogram is the baby the person mentions. And also, we can't confirm whether any charges or investigations were launched because of this specific account or accounts, but it seems the allegation is clear, right? That she was impregnated, and as I'll get into, either by Jeffrey Epstein, or maybe she was a surrogate of some kind, but the baby was taken away. And what is interesting when we talk about her credibility, at least to me, is the apparent specificity of detail and acknowledging certain personal details about Epstein. At the same time, the presence of bodies being buried on Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico is also being investigated. State investigators are now searching Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch for the bodies of 2 victims who were allegedly to death, according to the Daily Mail. The search comes after an email claimed that a former staffer had information that 2 victims were buried outside the ranch. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G? The email read, as Epstein's Zorro Ranch is being dug up looking for buried bodies, numerous victims are coming forward saying they were drugged, had organs harvested from their bodies, and would wake up in an operation theater with no recollection of how they got there. New Mexico has begun to reopen a criminal investigation at Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, which was one of the many properties in which Jeffrey Epstein committed acts of abuse against my both girls and boys. We know that there was not only criminal allegations brought to the FBI and DOJ, but there was also a civil suit involving allegation against Jeffrey Epstein at the ranch. Mr. Indyk, who is in the room being deposed right now, managed the ranch properties, and I asked a number of questions about what happened at Zorro Ranch, and I will say this. Although I can't speak to what was specifically on the record, I was told today by Mr. Indyk's attorneys that they were not even aware that the U.S. Department of Justice asked to drop New Mexico's case against Jeffrey Epstein. And so, whether that is true, we cannot verify it. But all of this points to the fact that nobody is talking, nobody is telling the truth, nobody is helping us get real answers, and so the cover-up continues. The worst part is that if this is true, some bodies might never be found. Emails from Epstein show him buying large quantities of sulfuric acid just days after his indictment. There are claims that Epstein wanted to use this acid to get rid of any evidence linking him to his crimes. Details about what kind of evidence he was trying to destroy haven't been made public. But according to some rumors, Epstein was trying to get rid of human remains. Here's one of the craziest ones. The day he was indicted in 2018, the very next day, he ordered 330 gallons of sulfuric acid. What? Yes. He ordered 6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid to be delivered to the island. And so there's a lot of people online saying, oh, that was probably for his desalination plant. It's probably like a regular thing they need to order. So then someone else did a deep dive and said, no, this is the first time this was ever ordered. Again, I thought there was 2 other ones. Oh. There was 2 other orders? In 2015. Oh, so that guy was wrong. First one from that company, potentially. Ah, that makes sense. So maybe it was for this desalination equipment. But also, that's a lot of sulfuric acid. You know, if I needed 5 gallons for my desalination equipment, but 239 gallons or whatever it is to burn. Yeah, to get rid of bodies. Well, it's kind of hard to think of any other use for acid just in general, right? So it's like, do is I want to book her. Like I want to her and I want to, get rid of the body. Like I want to do that. Like, can you do that? And there was one where this one guy is saying to him, thank you for the video. It's literally a part of an email. The actual quote, thank you for the I enjoyed the video. It's so gross. And they think they've identified that guy. A lot of these claims are circulating online, but separating documented evidence from rumor is more important now than ever. As more records, testimonies, and official findings come out, the full picture may become clearer. What do you think? Are these files revealing something bigger, or is the internet running too far ahead of the evidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into powerful people, hidden scandals, and the stories the mainstream keeps missing, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.